When it comes to money, every little bit helps, right? Wrong. Minimum wage is up.
The unemployment rate is at 10%. If you scaled back the minimum wage...
The minimum wage is kind of like a sacred cow in Washington, with many lawmakers thinking it's a win-win for low-skilled workers.
So that low-skilled workers can earn more money.
Suppose the owner pays Al, Bob, and Carl $8 an hour each.
Some experts say it can actually kill jobs.
And pretty soon we'll be making China's clothing, and your children will be working in sweatshops.
The real story is an increase in the minimum wage is bad for people who run small businesses and the employees who work for those businesses.
This notion is no longer confined to a handful of conservative economists. Charles Lane of the Washington Post editorial board.
I'll speak slowly. Raising taxes and increasing the minimum wage hurts job growth. The more a business owner has to pay, the less money he has to grow his business and pay employees.
What a horrible thing, minimum wage. Isn't there something else we can call it? You know? Well, it's better than nothing wage. Yeah, that's what I'm making now.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic Check is a show where we conduct various street interviews geared to hear the voice of the hard-working class residents of New York City. Every second of every minute of the day, week, month, and year, there is always something happening in the city. The problem is, the majority of our stories are being told for those media conglomerates that only spit out one-sided views. Mic Check's mission is to give a full 360 degree on major events, protests, and political agendas that matter to you the most. We are here to inform, educate, and entertain the working class residents with information that is vital to your survival.
We're on 34th Street having a press conference for the low-wage worker march. And a lot of organizations and a lot of unions and a lot of groups of people who, you know, organize low-wage work, and our low-wage workers are here today to talk about their experiences and, you know, what it is to live on something below a living wage.
We want them to have a wage that they can send their children to college and, you know, enjoy the American dream.
I'm here to help raise the minimum wage in New York City and to try to change the fact that so many New Yorkers are unemployed or underemployed. They are experiencing workplace injustice, and my organization, the Retail Action Project, focuses on retail workers and their situations. And retail work makes up a very large portion of the jobs here in New York City.
I am a unionized employee. I'm very happy with being in the union, and we know what's happening to current employees, and we would like to give them their full support. We want them to have a union wage, a livable wage.
I work for Con Edison. I'm part of the local 1-2 union, and I'm here to support my brothers and sisters for the cause of having good wages, good benefits, and for the middle class in New York.
I'm a New York City paraprofessional for District 75, U of T. Been working for the DOE for 13 years. I work with various special needs students from K to high school.
725 is not living wage, and that's what we're here doing today, trying to represent Yaya and supporting everybody and saying that 725 is not enough and we need more.
Yeah, well, I direct an organization called the Greater New York Labor Religion Coalition, which is a project to unite the labor movement and the faith community to support low-wage workers in their fight for a living wage and for dignity on the job.
These people every day they knock out, and some of them even die on the job without anything compensation.
I'm here today because I support the living wage bill. I am running for state senator to be the voice of the middle class.
I represent
both the Retail Action Project and our Walmart, which is Organization United for Respect at Walmart. And basically this sign is just to keep Walmart away from New York because of like the type of business practices that they do, and also because of the way they treat their workers.
Watching the Youth Channel. Take a couple of minutes to watch one of our PSAs.
Just because of my background
doesn't mean you could stereotype me.
For what I look like.
My parents came here.
My parents came here
so that I could have a better life.
Not all of us are the same.
Not all of us are the same. Yo soy Latino.
Ako ay Filipino.
我係中國人.
Please don't judge us.
Please don't judge us.
Please don't judge us.
Please don't judge us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Stay tuned and watch our featured programming.
A minimum wage is a standard that is set to cut off like what the lowest amount of money that you can receive for a job that you're doing an hour is. A living wage is entirely different because a minimum wage could be $5.50. That doesn't mean you can live off of something that's $5.50 an hour, working full-time or even part-time less.
The word minimum means small, so it's like small amount of money that you're getting paid. Or the most amount of money that you can be paid. The cost of living in New York is so high that you need a living wage. You can't survive on minimum wage anymore. It's like our nation, our city is progressing and we're falling behind that progression. We need to catch up.
The minimum wage that we get now, it's like, how can one survive on that? And it's not just that. I mean, a lot of companies now, they give you full-time hours, but with just working that little pay. And then to top it off, absolutely no benefits at all. So, I mean, how is one supposed to, like, survive on that? You know, I mean, I know for, like, there's people that I know that would do, like, 3 full-time jobs, sometimes 4, just to make ends meet, you know, and it's crazy. I mean, it really, like, the minimum wage should really be raised to a lot more than what it is now.
I help pay my mom's like bills at home too. So, and like, I don't want to live week by week.
The sad and shameful thing is that if you live full-time on a minimum wage, you're likely with your family still living in poverty. And that's a disgraceful thing. As a religious leader, I would say that's a sin. People should be able to work full-time and subsist decently and sustain themselves and their families. That's why we want a raise in the minimum wage, but even beyond that, we want a living wage, which is exactly that, a wage people can live on, and the minimum wage cannot do that.
Minimum wage is very important to me. I worked very hard for the passage of the living wage bill, which just got passed June 28th. I was a retail worker myself for close to 20 years, so I know what it's like.
Homelessness. The child cannot go to college, and rent. That's the main thing, paying your rent.
As we get older, these jobs are going to pay us the money that we need to support our families.
It's not fair to people that's doing really hard work and not getting paid enough for it.
Well, since we're being locked out, they're trying to take away our benefits, and I feel like corporate America is doing that to all the people like working in the private industry and public industry, and it already happened to the public industry, so now they're trying to take hit on the private industry, which is Con Edison. So I feel that if they do that to us as like a big company, locking away 8,000 people out of a job and increasing healthcare costs and taking away their pension, they're gonna try to do that to everyone. So they're trying to use us as a message to all the other people out there.
I myself, like, I used to be a former Walmart employee, and I could tell you that the way they do their things, it's really not kosher. You got like discrimination against like women. You got like, for example, you got a lot of male managers there, but really not too many female managers at all. I know when I worked the overnight, there was like at least a good 6 male managers, but only one female manager. And I know of cases where female workers tried to apply for managerial positions but got denied. They got to a point that they got so frustrated about the decision that they just they left.
The retail industry is now been downgraded to part-time and call-in shifts. People cannot make a living working retail jobs. They are minimum wage or barely making living wage a lot of times, and you can't rely on your schedule or your income.
I live in a one-bedroom apartment with 2 of my children, and I'm supposed to be a middle class person, but I can't afford to live in a 2-bedroom in New York City because I can't afford $5,000 a month.
As far as like sick time is concerned, like sometimes like they won't even, if you get sick at the job, they won't let you leave. Like they want you to continue the shift even though you're not even at 100%.
Most of the jobs are being held by women and mothers, and that they need stability and stability in hours, stability in pay. People are raising families on the jobs.
I'm more of a lucky scenario. I still live at home, but I try to support my family every month. But for people who have kids and family, it's like I don't know how they support it. That's why we're here to fight for our benefits and our rights.
Watching the Youth Channel. Take a couple of minutes to watch one of our PSAs.
When I get with Batelano, I'm going to ask them about this Youth Channel because I'm scrolling through my Instagram and some girl just posted it. Like,
Wait, let's ask him about it. See what he says. What is it about?
Think you know?
Yeah.
You a clown. So you go to that party on Friday?
Hey, Batelano.
Oh, yo, what's good, boy?
Yeah, I was going through my Instagram and some girl posted this picture about the Youth Channel. What's this? You know anything about it?
Right, Youth Channel. That's on Manhattan Neighborhood Networks. It's on Time Warner Cable on 34, and if you got Fios, it's on channel 33.
I got RCN.
That's channel 82.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna write the girl on Instagram and see what this is about.
Definitely, yo. If anything, yo, spread the word.
All right, I got you. I definitely will. It was good seeing y'all.
Likewise.
I'll see y'all later.
All right, cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Stay tuned and watch our featured program.
Really, I think most importantly, you have to get started in school. Make sure that there are clubs and activities in your school, especially in New York because it's such a large student population, that's where to start. You have to kind of be a leader and start figuring out what you want to see change.
Come unionize, and you would be guaranteed for your generations healthy, wealthy, and well-to-do families.
A good start is to let all your elected officials at every level know that you support a raise in the New York State minimum wage, that you support bills like the living wage bill, that you support worker rights to organize. That's the very minimum, and then come out to all kinds of events like this throughout the year.
The workers and the faith communities combined, because we have a lot of workers in our churches, and that's why we have more privilege to stand and fight for them.
I would like everybody to come out in rallies like this, put the pressure on top management, and give everybody an equal share.
I just think it's important for people, when you're not happy about something, instead of just sitting around complaining, you got to get up off your you-know-what and do something about it.
Well, they have to understand that having more people together to support is more meaningful than just a couple people. Like if you see like 10 people standing in the street trying to rally and like try to show support, show people what it means, it doesn't really represent anything. Like if you have like 1,000 people like right now, 2,000 people, like you actually hear the loud noises, like people outside watching it would be surprised and would actually probably listen to see what's going on with the situation instead of like 10, 20 people out in the streets rallying.
I believe that they should push the bills through. Make sure that people are heard. There are hundreds and thousands of people out here today. Do you know that the CEO ratio is $475 to $1? That means that there are people at the bottom that are making $1 to someone who's making $475. I hardly think that giving them three more extra dollars will hurt their pockets.
Well, for one thing, the members of our community in many cases are those low-wage workers, so it's taking care of our own. And the other reason is that all of our faith traditions have something to say about economic justice, about worker rights, about the dignity of all people.
I'm not going to be getting paid enough for the hard work that I'm going to be doing.
This relates to our families because we all live in, well, for those who live in low-income communities and low-income neighborhoods, we need more to support our families. And those who come from big families, we need more money to supply those families also.
Because it raises the standard for minimum wage and living wage in New York. I feel like when people are exploited and not paid, you know, even the minimum wage, which isn't a living wage, it sets back the standard for everyone. It, you know, increases poverty instead of decreasing it, so it's important.
To me, I feel that it's just a bunch of excuses, and they can do something to improve the living situation that everybody here is in right now. But I mean, it can be done. I mean, instead of making so many excuses, they should take the time to make some actions instead.
Well, we're just coming out of a successful 2-year living wage campaign that brought workers, clergy, faith communities together to fight for and win a living wage ordinance in New York City. So that was a great collaboration and one that wound up in a victory. Just very encouraging, very hopeful. I think we can go from strength to strength and win these things.
I think everyone should just come out and support us.
Yes, I think everyone should come and support us. Even you don't work for Con Edison. This is just to support everybody, middle class.
I will continue to let the workers know to keep on and holding on, and help is on the way. And for the youth to join us, to come out to join us and join the organization until for them to stand up for tomorrow, because they are the one for tomorrow.
You know, we're the upcoming generation, so we have a large say. Some of us are old enough to vote, others will be old enough to vote in the next election. So we really are the next people going to be in charge of politics. So why not start now?
Why?
You are the future. Exactly,
the youth is the
future. You're the future. So like you're gonna be working, you're gonna be doing things. So you basically, like what she said, start now. Yeah, it's time to be independent. It's time to stop relying on our parents to talk about what's right for us. It's time for us to take a stand and make a change.
People don't understand that if you are able to afford to feed your family, if you are able to feel confident about that, there will be less poverty in America. Poverty, it brings everyone down. When we talk about educational equalities, there are families who want a better education for their children, but they are not able to do that because they're trying to survive. So their attention can't be a focus on making sure they connect with their teachers, because their attention is, how do I feed my family? Where do I live?
Just best thing is just to keep supporting, and like and if they know somebody that's involved in this, support them as well.
They need to come out here and show support, because today is me, tomorrow is you.
In this program, I learned how to use a camera and how to do different things with the camera without using like editing programs. Something that I learned was how to edit things and how to make different effects with the editing.
It was a great experience. I learned more about making media. I learned more about what MNN is and what just the amazing work Eminem has been doing. I've learned about B-roll, making montages, and right now I'm in the process of editing my own production.
The fact that we got introduced to other people, I really enjoy that, and the fact that I got to communicate with people around me, and I made many friends.
In general, my summer experience here, it was a lot of fun. Being able to work with my fellow co-workers, because I had a fun time with them. Like we shared memories, stuff like that. We had a fun time.
Throughout the past 6 weeks of being in this summer youth program, I have learned a lot of things. A few things that I learned was how to work a camera, how to shoot films, how to hold microphones, which is called microphone etiquette.
Throughout the summer, I had a lot of fun. I was able to meet a lot of people and learn a lot of things about media.
We learned about the camera, editing, doing interviews with people outside, getting their opinions and perspective on stuff.
It's been cool. I met new people. Also being on a Spanish community, I feel comfortable with all of you guys, and I really be interested about media and be more involved in what I want to do after this.
My experience here has been great. I got to meet new people, connect with new, more peers around the city, especially in Harlem, and it's been fun and educational, and yeah, I've learned a lot so far.
My experience here has been fun. Like, I enjoyed pretty much everything we did. Interviewing people, getting interviewed, setting up equipment, using it. The only thing I could honestly say I didn't like that much was editing the film.
A few other things that I learned in this program is how to accept denial. When shooting a film outside, everybody that crosses your path is not going to be willing to film, is not going to be willing to be filmed on camera.
The challenge I say was really the street interviews. Those are the real challenges, because when you do that, it's like some of the positions you gotta play when you outside. You gotta be this one of the roles that most people don't like to play is the scout, and I had to play that role.
Scouting, it was like people was kind of being rude, so I mean, I kind of got rude back.
I think doing like street interviews and stuff, like stopping random people and asking them to be interviewed, that was kind of hard because not everyone wants to be stopped on the street. So that was very, very tough, especially for me.
People want to be on camera, they want to be on camera on their time, not really whenever somebody else want to do it.
Well, something that was difficult was being talent and scouting, because first of all, I don't like to be in front of the camera very much. I prefer to be behind all with the production and the filming myself.
It wasn't as fun as doing everything else. I'm more hands-on, so when I had to just sit down and look at a computer screen and edit all day, it just wasn't like fun, so it was hard for me to focus.
Editing was like, it takes like a long time because, you know, you didn't have the little cards. I mean, it'd be much easier, but since we have to sit up there and wait, it's like taking more of our time.
The editing is really challenging, just putting images together and cutting and making sure the levels are right, and then you gotta check the lighting and the sound. It's really stressful. Editing is I'm not a big fan of editing.
One time when I had to do the camera and the tripod, that was sort of hard for me.
I would say learning the camera, because there's so many different things, there's so many different parts of it that's important that you need to even start recording. There's a lot of things you need, not just turn the camera.
I guess like some of the challenges would be like when the energy was really low in the program.
For me, inside the desk space, I think was sometimes the communication, because also I'm being a Spanish person, sometimes I don't know in a way to say some stuff to people, and I don't want to be a mean person, and But the most challenging I think was came here from Brooklyn because it's so hard just get here. It's the travel is so long, takes really time.
I didn't really find anything challenging or difficult because as far as group work, it was really, it was good because I know a lot of people in the program, so it wasn't really hard for me. And there are people who knew, the facilitators knew how to teach, so I didn't really have a problem with,
I brought my experience as a media maker from my years working with Gap.
I brought creativity because I had my own ideas and my thoughts, and by being with a group, it came together as one, so we could be on the same level.
My energy, definitely, and also I had a little bit of knowledge coming in about media and about framing and composition of shots.
I think I brought my hard work and my skills.
Like being funny, I don't know, like I don't know, just being funny, like having like stuff like that.
I brought myself to the program.
What is that?
I brought my experience and what I've learned from other people.
Would you do this again if you had another chance?
Of course. I really enjoyed this. If I had a second chance to do this all over, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Of course. What type of question is that?
Of course.